Welcome back to episode 2 of Women Who Owned New Orleans. And in this episode, we're going to focus on Rosette Rochon. And Rosette was born in 1767, unfortunately enslaved, and not simply enslaved, but actually enslaved by her own father, Pierre Rochon, who was listed as being from Quebec, but living in Mobile, Alabama at the time, and he actually owned multiple people. He simultaneously had children with his European wife as well as Rosette's mother. When the European wife passed away, he then married Rosette's mother, and at the age of 16, he gave Rosette her freedom as a birthday gift. I know, I, I understand, yes, but that was how she began her life. Rosette would later go on as a young adult to purchase land in what is called today as the Marigny. She was one of the first original people to actually purchase land in the Marigny, and she built a property which still stands today, located at 1515 Pogger Street. You can actually walk by and see the plaque on the front. In 1855, her daughter actually purchased the property from her, thus carrying on the legacy. But this wasn't the end of her real estate development and investing journey. So, what you're going to learn during the course of this series is just how many women of color owned property, real estate, investings, and that nature within the Marigny, because the Baron de Marigny kind of had beef with the Americans that were moving to the city. Remember that the Louisiana Purchase occurred in 1803. It's all around this time when Rosette purchased the property in 1805. And so the Baron de Marigny made a decision that he was going to sell almost exclusively to French speaking people. And he didn't care what their heritage was. He said, whether you are European, African, or Native American, if you're French speaking, you can buy land from the Baron de Marigny. And thus began the beginning of the Marigny section of New Orleans. Now, one of the things you're going to learn about New Orleans, if you're not from here, maybe you move here, you just visit, is the women of New Orleans tend to be very crafty, ingenious, great business people, very driven people. And Rosette is definitely one of the ancestors that brought that energy from the very beginning. Because Rosette not only had real estate holdings that she then leased out as living quarters, she also leased out places that were grocery stores. She also provided cattle branding services. So for meat products that would come from places as far north as Opelousas, Louisiana, she was one of those people participating in the cattle trade, as well as I mentioned, a lot of this development going on in the Marigny and throughout the New Orleans area. If you happen to be in the city of New Orleans, be sure to take a walk down Pogger Street, head over to 1515 Pogger, and check out the plaque out front of the home that still exists today in Rosette's honor. Rosette was a real estate investor, developer, businesswoman, and an example for all of us to follow. Once again, as we have looked at just in the first 2 episodes of this series, this is what it looks like when women are given opportunity to lead and take ownership of space and the legacies that emanate thereafter. Be sure to come back for episode 3 because we're just getting started.